Another thing that she said during the confrontation of him, which I thought was kind of, no offense, but stupid on Hannah B's part, was when she said, "Oh, I thought you came on here not knowing what this was all about." That's what she said. She said, "Oh, I thought that you didn't know like what this was all about." How did he not know what the Bachelorette was all about? You thought it was like a music thing. No, he didn't think it was like a music thing. He wasn't confused. He knew exactly what type of show this was, but yet he still went on it for publicity for his music. Did anybody catch that line from Hannah B? And I just thought to myself, that's not about being naive. We can all have a bit of naivety to us, but that, I may have pronounced that word wrong, but that was a bit stupid. And I'm not saying that to offend her, because I am, advocate for any woman in these situations. We do sometimes make bad choices, but he knew what this was about. And he told you, I came on here for publicity. And again, I think I had mentioned, someone had brought up to my attention that she has that personality where it's like, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do it anyway and find out my own way. This was when she should have heeded counsel. This is when she should have heeded counsel. And, I really think she needs to heed counsel a little better next time, because she says she's a woman of faith and she talks about all of that all the time. But doesn't it say that you should have good counsel around you? And she didn't even listen to her own family. How can you not even listen to your own family? Sometimes family, and like she said, in hindsight, moms do know best. These are people who've been around you since you came onto the scene on Earth. So how can you, I know I said that kind of weird, but how can you even not acknowledge their wisdom in this situation? They know you better than anyone else. They've been around you. They've raised you. They've watched you grow up. And I was thinking to myself, couldn't her family have tried to do it, if they know her so well and they observe how her personality is, couldn't they have tried to do a bit of reverse psychology on her, knowing that she might go against anything that they say? But someone brought it up to my attention that, they did try. They tried their best, but sometimes people want to be stubborn and just go their own way and learn the hard way. And that's why I'm also, I did that last video and was like, hey, this is a PSA, with the whole Jed X interview, because sometimes we just go against the signs, the warning signs, the wake up signs and the wake up calls. And sometimes we just, I don't know why we feel like we need to learn through experience, when it would just be so much easier if we could just heed the counsel, heed the conventional wisdom, listen to what people are saying around us, open our eyes, kind of remove ourselves from the situation. And another thing is, maybe someone's not going to like me for saying this, and maybe someone will like me for saying this. I really don't care. The fact of the matter is, she was having sex with multiple men, and that clouded her judgment too. And she waited to have sex with the right guy, who I think was Tyler. I really feel she should have chose Peter. I've already said that a few times. I'll try to not say it again. But at the end of the day, when it was Tyler and Jed, she should have chose Tyler, and she didn't. And she withheld her physical connection with him for thinking it was lust and all this other stuff. And she didn't withhold that from Jed. And I'm assuming this because when you remember when Luke P tried to hold on to his position and be the top 4 when he was already eliminated, and he came back, when she said to the guys, I'm just going to be honest, he was mad at me, or he, said what he said about me having sex with multiple guys. You could just see on Jet's face his reaction, like, oh, because you can tell that something happened between Hannah B and him in the fantasy suite. You could just tell on his face that something happened. Tyler, you can tell nothing. We already knew nothing happened with him. And she already confessed that something happened with, what's his face? Peter. But you could just tell on Jed's face that something did happen between them. And again, she withheld that from Tyler, and I think that clouded her judgment. I'll just be honest, women don't love like men love. Men can kind of separate that. Women we get involved. Like there's just, scientific evidence that we have a different physiological reaction, and we just are different in that capacity, and we need to honor those differences and realize those differences. And I think that her having sex with multiple men clouded her judgment as well, and that caused her to override the conventional wisdom, the advice from her parents, and even the very like, as she called it, skeptical response that she received from Jed's family. I call it cold, but she said skeptical. We'll use her words. They were very skeptical. And she realized in hindsight, when she was breaking up with him, that's the reason why. The reason why they were so skeptical is because they just met another girl before her whom he, quote unquote, loved. And he said he just said it to her to appease her, but he realized he was very wrong for saying it after when he was talking about his ex. This is very sad, but then I think part of the audio that was erased was that after they were on after the Rose, interview portion of the show, I feel like she kind of reduced herself when Tyler came out. She spoke with Jed. He said what he said. Oh, they already showed the part where I apologize, but I'll apologize again. I thought that just didn't sound right. But then when Tyler came out, they were obviously, she and Tyler both were still hurting from the situation as well. Oh, and Jed did say that he still loved her. He would be there for her if she needed anything, and he pretty much wanted us to be back with her. But anyway, when Tyler came out, I feel like she kind of reduced herself asking him out on a date. Here's a guy who actually proposed to you. He probably still loves you. For her, excuse me, guys, for her shifting, let me take a sip of water. Sorry for the long pause. I tried to pause the recording. For her to then ask him out on a date for drinks, I think that kind of reduced her position in his eyes a bit. I'm sorry, but I think it did. You couldn't disagree with me. If you want, please put it in the comments. I think it kind of reduced her position. This is a guy who literally just proposed to you, and you're now asking him out on a date for drinks. I don't know what the future holds for Tyler and Hannah B. And I think Tyler will probably go out for drinks with Hannah B. But unfortunately, I think that ship has passed. I think that the audience has resonated with Tyler in such a way that he will be the next Bachelor. We do want to see him win. We do want to see him have love. And how can he pass up having the ability to choose from 25 plus women who want to be there for him and who are probably flooding the casting, hoping that it's Tyler. I did say Peter would make a great Bachelor. I did say Mike would make a good Bachelor, but now it's Tyler. It's Tyler. And unfortunately, Hannah B and Tyler are not going to get together. And I think this was part of the audio that was erased. When Chris Harrison was interviewing him before Hannah B asked him out on a date, Chris Harrison had asked Tyler something. He said, how are you been dealing with this? Or, kind of like asking about the whole proposal. And Tyler said, look, it was in that moment I realized this isn't it. But I know that I'm looking for forward to having that feeling again, because he was talking about having that feeling that he had during football, him throwing up, him being nauseous, and equating that to that feeling of love. I don't know how that could be equated to the feeling of love, but he said he was nervous and stuff like that. Maybe we need to rethink that, because that didn't work out. But so he was talking about that, and he said he hopes to have that feeling again. But I think what he means is that feeling of knowing or feeling that the hope of this love. But it didn't work out with Hannah B, and clearly that wasn't it. But he said that to Chris Harrison, and he looked at him like with a little bit of raised eyebrows and shaking his head in affirmation and yes. And I think he was saying, yes, I do want to be the next Bachelor. And yes, I'm ready to find love. I'm hurting right now, but I'm ready to find love again. And I'm ready for that, taking those steps in that direction as the next Bachelor. And the other thing is, so I knew in that moment that that's where the direction he wanted to go. But it's kind of, their love is kind of, and it's not to say that people can't come back from that, because, you know, I truly believe, you know, the impossible can happen with love. Like anything can happen. But I do believe that it's just, she didn't choose him. She didn't choose him. She chose Jed. She chose all of that. And that did not work out. And Tyler going with her, that's not to say that this has not happened in the past, but I don't think it's going to happen with them. And again, the reason being is because he does have an opportunity to be successful at being the Bachelor. She did not choose him first. That might hurt his ego to be the second choice. Okay, and I don't think we've ever seen the woman go and get the man that she chose, that she rejected, and choose him again and him accept. I don't think we've ever seen that. That's not to say it can't happen, but you know, men's ego is different than women's ego. We've seen it happen with a woman where the guy, and I think that's happened more than once. It happened in Ari's season. It happened way back when in another season, but where the guy is like, oh, I chose you, but it's not working. I think I made a mistake. I'm choosing the runner-up, and now we're going to get married, and it works out. You don't see that. We've never seen that the other way around, and there's a reason for that. The man's ego and the rejection and the fact that he would have to live with potentially being second best. And the other thing is, guys, I do think this setup of the Bachelor, Bachelorette works better for women, because women usually will choose right. But with the man choosing, there is a propensity, and this is not an excuse. This also has to do with maturity and other variables. But I think in this situation, the man has a greater chance of getting it wrong and being confused than the woman. So I don't think they're gonna. I think she X'd out all of them, and she will find love. It just will not be with Tyler, most likely. I could be wrong, but I don't see that happening. If they do find love, it'll be him literally going on The Bachelor, being the Bachelor, going through all of the men, and then them finding each other after it. Like, she X'd out 25 plus men. He X'd out 25 plus women, and now they find each other in the end. That could happen, but he's going to have to go through his experience of The Bachelor, and I think that's what the future is going to lead for him. And yes, Peter would be a great Bachelor. Maybe it will be like what happened with Ari, where Ari came back after like seasons past. Like, hey, weren't you on the Bachelorette like 5 years ago? So I mean, that can definitely happen, but I don't know if that'll happen with Peter. But it can definitely happen. So we'll see what happens. That's I believe all I wanted to say. This was a little bit longer of the reviews, but there was a lot to cover, and I did lose a bit of audio. So I'm hoping that I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. If I did not, if you feel like I missed out on something, please put it in the comments. If you don't agree, put it in the comments. If you agree, put it in the comments. Either way, I love seeing your comments. So I appreciate that in advance. And would you please subscribe if you have not subscribed yet? It is free, and I would love you for it. And also lets me know that you're listening. And I know people come to this channel to watch and listen to my commentary, but I'd love to have you as a subscriber as well, so you can get the notifications. Also, I will be covering Bachelor in Paradise.